Blessed be, and welcome to Astro Psych. I'm just going to be looking at this new moon occurring today at 8:44 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I'm going to just bring a few themes in that I want to discuss that stand out in this chart that will be occurring this evening. And I want to encourage you, this is a very potent time. It is our last new moon of the year, ushering us into 2026 and ushering us into the winter solstice and Capricorn season. Also, this new moon is ushering us into direct connection with AI Atlas that is very close as I speak to the sun's orbit. Now, this new moon, obviously the sun is conjunct the moon in a new moon, so it's going to be blocking out the night sky, and it'll be very dark. We know that new moons are the dark moons where we cannot see the night at all. It is black, 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 black. So I find that very interesting. But the Sagittarius new moon is occurring at 28 degrees Eastern Standard Time, and Sagittarius suns themselves are confident. They have a great deal of imagination. It's a very dreamy, inspiring sign, adventurous, philosophical, and athletic. It is ruled by the centaur, which is half man, half animal, 4 legs, fiery, mutable energy that wishes to go out from the 9th house of his home, ruled by Jupiter, and be expansive and grow and change and move. This is not a fixed nature. This is very important to understand, a very restless moon, as Sagittarius is highly mutable, moving energy. So the sky map here is showing us some very important themes that we need to take a look at as we consider what it's like to have the moon in Sagittarius, which is not the sun, of course. The moon takes on a different nature. Yes, it's still highly adventurous in wishing to move out, but it has an ability here when it's in the moon to wax and to wane and to ebb and to flow, because Sagittarians grow and evolve by moving. They move out and they connect and they go seek and they go look, and that causes their sun, right, to grow. And when the moon is exchanged in this instinct where the person's true nature is to be this philosophical person, enthusiastic, cheerful, a buoyant, a sincere seeker, have a sense of a mission, devout, very dedicated moon, and highly optimistic. But let me share with you, the shadow of this moon in Sagittarius can then, and we're going to take a look at some reasons it might be challenged with some of the shadow aspects in our personality when we take a look at the stellium and other aspects we've got going on. But there can be a real lower negative, as I would say, expression that can cause us to be very unrealistic, very restless, hysterical, irresponsible, offhandedness, non-committed, amoral, going out with your sexual energy in places that it's not meant to be, careless, can be pompous, narrow-minded, and have this holier than thou attitude, like nothing is wrong with me, it's all you. Very blunt and very arrogant. These are some of the lower vibrations that can manifest when we're faced with, and listen, I just want to say, I think all of us, as I speak and talk about astrology, I was thinking of this the other day, We all go through these times. No one is exempt and immune from having these ebbs and flows with Earth and the energies that are impelling us. You know, they're available, they're there. And as we work with them in our awakened states, they can then compel and help us in our lives. But all of us have these challenges. None of us are exempt. And I just really want you to be careful here not to beat yourself up and be really hard on yourself. And just know, look, all of us is learning how to use our mutable fire. All of us is learning how to wax and wane that fire, when to use it, when not to use it, when to send it out, when to pull it back, what to believe in, what not to believe in, what to gain, what to shed. There's this constant movement with the moon. And in new moons, this is asking us, of course, to really start something of an initiatory nature. And I want to talk about the decan that this new moon is in. And it is in Saturn, as well as the sun, always conjunct the moon in a new moon, as well as Venus, and as well as the Galactic Center. And it is conjunct Mercury as well, but Mercury is a bit separated from the rest of the pack, as you can see. Mercury is moving forward. All these planets are moving forward quickly. But the moon, the sun, and Venus are all in the decan of Saturn. And this now changes some of the structure and the outward expression of Sagittarius, who's that arrow wanting to hit the mark, shooting herself forward. It now puts some restraint, because what it wants to do is it wants to stop you and show you what needs to be cast off, and the burden needing to be lightened. Saturn is a burden maker, a discipline maker, a holder, and wants structure. And if you look at the message I sent out yesterday on this 22-degree, which is going on in this chart too, Jupiter to Chiron, 22 degrees, we see there's a message here between the 9th and the 12th house in this chart, but between Aries and Cancer, between Chiron and Jupiter, this harmonious energy that's being able to be addressed and healed at this time. Being conjunct the Galactic Center in Saturn, we're holding this energy and looking at it for a moment before we're launching. So it's an ask here. Even though it's highly adventurous, highly moving, it is an ask being in that decan to pause in this new moon and really be sure of your intentions before you sent them out, and quite possibly look at the Ten of Wands here, because this is the card in the Smith-Waite Tarot that represents Saturn in Sagittarius. And let's take a look at this card a bit deeper and understand what it's trying to tell us here, because Saturn is the Lord of oppression in this card. He is called the Lord of oppression. And you could see in the card on my posts that I have with the attached pictures, you can see the Ten of Wands, of course, is a very challenging card. We have someone standing, it looks like a gentleman, or it could be a female, with his back, her back to us, holding 10 wands and pushing those wands forward. It's also suggesting, maybe drop some of those wands and just find one, because 10 reduces to 1 to start again. But it also suggests an ending, doesn't it? Because 10s are new beginnings. So something is ended in the way that you have postured yourself and held Saturn, discipline, structure. The way that you've had your structures perhaps is now busting open into new ways. And I want to read from a book that's called Tarot and Astrology: Enhance Your Readings with the Wisdom of the Zodiac by Corinne Kenner. I do not own this information. This is page 171 on the Ten of Wands, Sagittarius, Saturn in Sagittarius, Lord of Oppression. 28 degrees of Saturn. Now, we're putting Sagittarius at 28 degrees in Saturn, the Sun at 28 degrees in Sagittarius and Saturn, and Venus in 28 degrees in Sagittarius in Saturn. So, Moon represents our instinctive nature, our true mind, by the way, not Mercury. Mercury is the rational, conscious mind that wants to take everything and make it into this practical form, an organized structural form, and then disseminate it, often to the elimination of remembering spirit, because Virgo's polarity is Pisces. And Pisces is the highest spiritual sign. And there's an opposition there where our nodes are as well, which come into play heavily in this reading, because Virgo's south node is squaring all of this energy. Therefore, the north node is also going to be squaring this energy. And it's an ask to look at these polarities and understand that we need a balance between both of them. It shouldn't be my way all the time, south node in Virgo. It needs to consider other people. This is connected to Venus, the very solar sun, your power, your real instincts. Venus is related to relationships, what you value, how you value others, the way you're going out in your values to others in Sagittarius. And Mercury's there, speaking, the Lord of the south node, in square, almost exact. And the south node in Virgo's in retrograde. So we've been having these themes. If you've been listening to me, I've been bringing out the themes of these nodes because it's our collective energies, what we should be coming away from and cleaning up and putting correctly, getting rid of the bones out of it and taking that meat and chewing it and getting the nutrition we need, but then going towards that north node. That's in Pisces. That is the polarity of Virgo. That is, therefore, the polarity of Mercury, bringing me back to how the moon is more of your unconscious nature, your true nature, and Mercury's more about sometimes ignoring those inner nudges and making it too practical and not being willing to go out to that north node where collectively we're being called to and have been called to. And there's no doubt about it, with Saturn being in Pisces for the last 2 years and months, and Neptune being in Pisces for 14 years. Wow. I hope that we have got the memo. Very important to see what's trying to be spoken here as I go to the Ten of Wands, Saturn and Sagittarius. I quote, page 171, Saturn, the ring planet of limitations and restrictions, reigns in everything it touches. Here it burdens happy-go-lucky Sagittarius with baggage that's bound to weigh him down and slow his forward motion and progress. So like I said, Saturn's like, okay, brakes on. Brakes on. We're going to take a look at this. These three mixtures of energy conjunct the Galactic Center, where we have 27 degrees, the center of our solar system, where we have yin energies going in and yang energies going out. And the Galactic Center is a huge spiritual point of growth and expansion. It's Jupiterian in nature. Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. Jupiter is in Cancer and retrograde in the 12th house, saying, look, let's deal with your subconscious themes and trying to get you to the roots. And it's in a grand water trine with Scorpio in the 4th and back up to Pisces in the 8th. So the 4th, 8th, and 12th grand water trine are underneath all of this, flowing in harmony and communicating that we need to look at these themes. Like Sisyphus, that's Sisyphus, the young man in the card seems condemned to roll a boulder uphill for all of eternity, or in this case, to carry an armload of burning branches across an open field. Sagittarius is normally footloose and fancy-free. The adventurous horseman likes nothing better than to ride off into the sunset in search of new lands, new people, and new philosophies to explore. So this is important to see here, a deeper theme. There is a microscope being put underneath the way you use your own fire energy in exchange with others, especially in your relationships, in the way that you may want to have it all your way or the highway, where you're saying, nope, it needs to be like this, it's gonna be like this, and often you don't even communicate those things to others. You just do your own thing. And as you can see, there is a problem with this because it becomes, in this energy, in this new moon, which is a main theme coming out, the Lord of Oppression. You are oppressing people with the way that you have to have it your way or the highway. And there isn't a lot of working with other energies as far as ego in Sagittarius, because Sagittarius is the 3rd fire sign after Leo. Okay. And in this chart, of course, in the Eastern Standard Time, Lynchburg, where is all that energy? Well, it's in Leo's house. Leo rules the 5th house of the zodiac. So it's fire on fire here. And fire on fire is got Saturn restrained. Ooh, this does not feel good, right? Saturn is a planet of gravity. Okay? When Saturn assumes the rulership of Sagittarius, 3rd decan, he brings the weight of the world along with him. It tempers his dreams and hopes and limits his travels. So it's like, hey, maybe my energy should be pulled back a little bit here, and I shouldn't have tried to make it all about me. And now, as I go into the 6th house, that Virgo rules, where this moon is going to be within minutes. The moon moves super fast, and it's going to run right into Capricorn and the 6th house, where Mars is, Earth on Earth now. Capricorn is Earth ruled by who? Saturn. And Saturn is going to be working with Mars, restraining that powerful energy to show you, hey, this is where you need to place the structures now. I'm going to give you this added benefit of energy to really see, hey, where's my health? Where are my daily tasks at? Where's my daily organization? How is all this energy impacting my daily life by perhaps being stubborn and holding on to my own way, where Mars is asking you to move out in ways that are beneficial to all, because the 6th house is service to humanity. It's the healer house. I continue. It tempers his dreams and hopes and limits his travels. The young man might be carrying the burden of manifesting his own dreams and ideas. Unfulfilled hopes weigh heavily on anyone's soul. He might also be struggling with guilt for past wrongdoings. Like Marley's ghost, perpetually wrapped in a chain, he forged link by link. And that's another point. This isn't anyone else here. This needs to be clear. This is your energy, my energy. Look, I'm speaking this to myself too, okay? But I do want to share this. When you are an astrologer or you work in the fields that I do, your life is conducted a little bit differently because you look very closely, perhaps more than others, at where things are in the sky, energies, planets, points of interest, asteroids, stars. I mean, there's a lot of things we can look at. But astrologers, tarotists, healers, naturopaths, holistic, shamanistic type people, mystics. I'm like those people. I operate in those, and I claim some of those titles because I kind of know where the energies are, and I'm not taken by surprise. So when I say this applies to you and it applies to me, um, it's going to be depending on the work that you've been doing. And some of you, you're like, I know, man, I've been watching and waiting for this new moon, and you're way ahead of the game. And this is why I want to encourage you to look at these ahead of time, right? I bring them the day of sometimes because I really, and I've changed it up, but I really like to feel the energy of the day. Really like to be in it. I'm ruled by the moon. I'm a Cancer sun, and I have a Cancer moon, and I have a Cancer Venus. So, like, I'm all tied up in the exact time of these moons, the time that they come in, the time that they release. I have like a direct connection, and any Cancer moon would. Any chart ruled by the moon would as well, might I add. If you're a Cancer ascendant, you're also going to feel this. All right, the Golden Dawn's designers of this card called Jupiter and Saturn the Lord of Oppression. For anyone who's unfamiliar with Saturn's limits and restrictions, the weight of responsibility can certainly seem oppressive. And I certainly know that it's not easy to hear all of these messages I'm giving, and it might sound a little perhaps strict, and I'm not meaning it to come across that way, but let us remember I'm reading the energy of that card, 10 of Wands. This is responsibility calling to you. A burden, an accumulative burden, overextendedness. And where this is hitting your chart, find your Sagittarius 28 degrees. That's the house this is speaking to, right? Look for your transits. This isn't a mystery. It doesn't have to be hard. Astrology wants to be known. The sky wants to be seen and understood, because then you can see, oh, wow, that's where it's hitting me, and I should focus my energy there. So again, the card depicts someone just weighted down, a lot of obligation, too many obligations, too many. And the expansive energy of fire and the wand suit in the tarot can feel like they're smothered by commitments and all of these things to do and all of these tasks to complete. So there's not going to be any further growth here unless, you really see what Saturn's trying to do. All right, what I want to do really quickly is move to the exact aspects here and then close out this reading. Okay, the stellium in the fifth house, or the stellium in Sagittarius, is all hitting a trine back to the Leo energy in the first house. So Leo is very bold here as the ascendant of the new moon chart. And Sagittarius is in Leo's house, as I said. So there's a working together to restructure your ego and your creative passions of the fifth house and what you want to do and where you want to be and who you want to exchange your energy with. All of this is speaking. Now, check this out. The fifth house is in an conjunct straight up to Uranus at 28 degrees. So the moon, the sun, and Uranus all at the exact 28, highly difficult conjunct position in the chart. Inconjuncts are very difficult. They're also called quincunxes. And this of the energy this evening that's going to be available and highly potent. And I want to share with you, it is a Leo ascendant. This is about your personal self-will. This is not about trying to manipulate, dictate, tell, manage anybody else. This is all about you and all about me. The moon, the sun, and Venus are highly personal energies. Strong individualistic inclinations are going to come forth here, and a rebellious streak or wanting this freedom, this independence, and you want to just break away from something and rebel against it. And you're just not sure how to go about it. Now, it can produce anxiety and tension. Don't let it do that. Don't let any aspect do that. Don't let any person do that. Don't allow outward circumstances to strip and rob you of your beautiful personal will and soul, star, spirit, and sun. That's what the sun is. And understand that you hold the keys. You hold the keys for any strained family dynamics that are in high changeable relational situation, and this is especially with women, all the women in your life, because the moon is representing the feminine. All of those energies are in conjuncting, and each one is speaking their own message back over there to Uranus. Venus would be really having shock and awes with anything in partnerships, anything with money, perhaps, because it does rule Taurus as well. And Uranus is in Taurus. Venus is the lord of Uranus in Taurus, and it is in retrograde. And it is in the 10th house. So now we're seeing a space for some of this. Do you see how it may not be a person to your left or your right, but really this is about where are you pointing your energy out into the public? Because the 10th house, midheaven, where Uranus is sitting, is the highest point in the chart. And it's a very visible planet. And remember here, we've got Venus and Saturn. So we're asking to restrain for a moment and take a look at the way our relational energy is going out in ways that are like maybe too rebellious, too freedom orientated, so like you're throwing the baby out with the bathwater, something a Sagittarius would do, because they just, like, fine, I, for lack of a better word, pardon my words, fuck you. I don't care. Sagittarians are not connected to people in that they get their self-esteem met or their confidence through other people. They're highly individualistic that way. They've got Jupiter ruling them. So let's be careful with the way we're speaking with others and relating with others. Challenging energy, you're bringing the sun itself in conjunct, the very soul of this moon, the very real true spiritual essence is in conjunct Uranus. The sun rules that house it's in. The sun rules the chart because it's a Leo ascendant, and the sun rules Leo, and that ascendant is in Jupiter, who rules Sagittarius. There is great benefit and power. It's in the decan of Jupiter, this ascendant. And look at the part of fortune is exact within a second. Pardon me, a minute. Exact. Look, if you take a look at these energies that I'm talking about, and other people, whoever you're drawn to, about this new moon, you have an opportunity. 15 reduces to a 6. Look at all the 6s. This is the Lover's card in Gemini. This is the 6 of Swords, 6 of Pentacles, 6 of Wands, 6 of Cups. Oh my. This energy is highly beneficial if you honor Saturn. Honor Saturn and do the hard work in that 5th house of ego, that 5th house of will, power, vitality, your masculine yang drive, anything that brings you significance, your physical energy, your stamina. We're moving forward here. We're moving out. Sagittarius is not patient. It is not a patient sign. And it's in a fixed house, and it's being fixed in Saturn. Ooh, I'm telling you, lay low on this new moon at 8:44 p.m. Do your own work here. This is highly individualistic new moon, and put your transits against this 28 degree, and it's going to show you where you need to do your work. Mercury is the lower octave of Uranus, meaning Mercury is that cognitive, concrete, logical mind ruling Virgo and Gemini. The sixth house, the third house, Cadent houses, mutable houses, houses that are leaving the energies, releasing the energies, and going into cardinal. All right, so when we have Mercury there now, it's not a strong in conjunct. It's approaching though, and that's why I want to talk about it. It's, 18 degrees away. I would not consider that a strong in conjunction, but it's approaching, which means within hours and days of the new, the moon's going to move and Mercury's going to move within days, very forward. It's going all through all of those energies, and it's going to provide an opportunity for you to have some conversations. Mercury wants to talk in exchange that have long needed to be had, but perhaps you've been avoiding them because Mercury is in almost a direct square as well, back over to the south node in Virgo, in the second house that Venus rules, of money, values, personal value, where you place your personal value, how you exchange your personal value. So there's just a need to come out from hiding here. It's in Virgo. Collectively, the things that perhaps we've been holding on to in our Virgo nature collectively, where, we've been too picky, too fastidious. We've, not allowed, it's in retrograde, it's in review. We've not allowed us to move in the way that we need to move. And so we're being compelled here to look at that north node, which is squaring the stellium as well. So not easy energy. Water to fire and then fire back to Virgo, earth. You see, Sagittarius here, this new moon really doesn't want to get into watery crap, man, for lack of a better word. It doesn't really want to do that. It wants to stay in its practical, Virgoic, line by line item, organized structure, and it doesn't want to allow for expansion of a spiritual nature. And I just want to tell you, Saturn is a task master, and Saturn is squaring you, Virgo South Node and Pisces North Node, for all of us. And it's either do or die here. A lot of energy being held. And let's look, the South Node is in Venus, and the North Decan and the North Node is in the Pisces Jupiter Decan. Great opportunity for expansive love, expansive relationships, allowing the ebb and flow, allowing people to be the way they are, and not calling it wrong. This is huge. Sagittarius, man, they could call out everything that's wrong. They're the philosophers, okay? And they're just like, nah, 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 and they're blunt, okay? So let's reel it in. Let's ground it. Let's take advantage of this gorgeous trine. Woo-wee, look at this beautiful trine of Mars in the sixth house in Capricorn, trining straight up to that midheaven in Taurus, ruled by Venus. All right, well, Venus in the 10th house, in the decan of Mercury in Taurus, is all things money communication, all things value communication, all things fixed earth. Taurus is earth, and Mercury rules mutable earth in Virgo. The South Node is in Virgo, and the South Node is in a trine That beautiful South Node in Virgo in retrograde, working so hard this year. Virgos, my goodness. Oh, guys, it's going to get easier for you next year. I promise. You got some bumps in the road, but yeah, just take some deep breaths, Virgo and Pisces. You guys have really been hit this year. Not been easy. I would say more the last 4 months. The last 4 months, it's really been a thing, hasn't it? I just speak blessings, special blessings over Virgo Pisces right now. And I ask that great clarity and favor and fortune. Fortune, fortune, fortune would fall over you because it has been something. Look at what's speaking for you this new moon as we end the year. You've got a gorgeous trine up to the midheaven at 7 degrees. And midheaven, of course, 10th house. Midheaven in Taurus is achieving material security, persistent efforts available to you, some patience that perhaps has long been needed is available to you going forward. And just this self-realization that you need to be a little more tolerant with the way you view your 10th house, a little more tolerant with the way you view your midheaven in public expression, and bring in some of your creative, devotive energy. Venus and Mercury is ruling this midheaven in the decan of Mercury, and Taurus is ruled by Venus. This is all things to do with the rational mind reason and love relatedness values, social urges, art and beauty, attraction, luck, personal magnetism, money, nurturing mother love, sensuality, bonding energy, harmony, merging. And with it trining the South Node, you're going to see now. There's this aha moment for all South Node, wherever a South Node Virgo people. Woo-wee! If you got your nodes in Virgo and Pisces, this has really been a year. There's going to be a great expansion for you. And you're going to be able to, with Mercury, you're going to be able to see associations that stay, associations that need to go. You're going to be able to have movement where you've been locked, and transportation. Transportation's coming in here for me. Something to do with where should I move my energy? Where should it move out to? You're going to have an understanding here with this new moon. It's really trying to speak to you that there are new intentions that have been in the cauldron. They've been in the cauldron stewing, and you haven't known what to do. There's going to be a clarity that's going to be coming forth, and I think that's so beautiful. And with that, I'm going to close. There is more to be said on this chart, but those are the main themes. And I just wish you a most blessed new moon in Sagittarius. Find your 28 degrees. Find your point in your chart where that hits exactly, and then look at all of the aspects. Your original unique blueprint is creating your own original unique aspects. And remember, Moon in Sag, easygoing outlook, freedom-loving nature, doesn't want to be tied down with those emotions. So let's be open and honest about our emotions, and let's allow Jupiter to bless us and allow the higher understanding to come in of our own personal outlook and views that, hey, we're taking into that 10th house, right? The 9th goes into the 10th. So take advantage of this energy that's available for you.